What matters most to you and why? That is the question Stanford University asks all MBA applicants in their legendary essay. And I think it provokes some really cool, unique answers. Today, I want to share mine with you in an effort to keep leveling the playing field for those applicants who maybe don't know anyone in the schools. Whether you're just curious or actively putting together your application for one of those top universities, I hope this video encourages a few people to shoot their shot, be courageous in their essay, and apply to the business schools they really want to go to. Some of you may have seen my video reacting to when I got into Harvard, Stanford and Wharton, or my video explaining the MBA application process. Or maybe you're one of the many people who keep asking me what I wrote about in my Stanford essay. Well, this video is for you. Being a responsible business leader is what matters most to me. I want to use this essay to share how my upbringing and my background in social entrepreneurship have informed my vision to impact the world through purpose-driven leadership. My parents both hold a PhD in chemistry. They met during their dissertation and love natural sciences. They were proud of making their contribution to a better world through their studies. For them, science is the noble cause. And when I told them I wanted to study business, to become a responsible leader of a large company, I could practically see the image of a man in a grey suit, hoarding money flash before their eyes. I could not blame them. It was the time when self-serving German managers were being indicted for paying themselves enormous bonuses or even embezzling money while their firms went under. And I remembered how during the financial crisis, my parents had sat us down at the kitchen table to explain that we would all have to make some sacrifices to keep the lights on. My grandparents had helped us pay for our mortgage, and my father had attributed the state of the world to homines economici, maximizing their own utility with no regard for others. I had listened, but wondered. If irresponsible businessmen could have such a big negative impact on the world, couldn't responsible entrepreneurs have a big positive impact? It took some explanations that this was how I wanted to make my contribution. But in the end, I went to university studying business. Not to an expensive university abroad, but to one of the best public schools in the country, where I got a scholarship and worked part-time to self-finance my studies. Sure, I recognized what my father had meant, as I met the first few students who openly stated that they wanted to become rich, and businesses were a means to do that. But I also learned about the image of the honorable businessman, and a fellow scholar pointed me towards Enactus, the world's biggest social entrepreneurship organization. I was fascinated by the idea, using entrepreneurial thinking to make the world a better place. I convinced around 75 people to join me in working more than full-time on the best ideas we could come up with alongside our studies. Every day was exciting. As our team was growing, I felt like getting a taste of what I set out to do with my life. Leading an entrepreneurial organization that was driven by a purpose. Some of our projects failed, and we learned from that. But interestingly, many of the projects we started during that time are still around today. And I'm happy that I traded internships for working on social startups and taking an action trip to Senegal myself. Yet on that trip, I also realized that most of the positive impact in the region came from companies that one would not have called social enterprises. I visited a well-led factory a local businessman had founded to produce food for cattle out of fish waste. The factory not only created jobs that had led prior farmers out of poverty, but also made it affordable for households to feed a cow and have fresh milk every day. And thinking about it, our project goal of improving access to dental care in the region was something that regular toothpaste and toothbrush manufacturers do really well on a large scale. As you review my application, I want you to know that while my background lies in social entrepreneurship, I do not believe that the positive impact I seek comes only from those pre-declared social enterprises, but rather from leading all enterprises with purpose in mind. So what matters most to me is being a responsible business leader, as it is my way to positively impact the world around me. I dedicated the past 2 years to managing the successful turnaround of the now 260-person strong German market entity of Avaloq, and it was one of the most impactful experiences in my life. One thing that surprised me when I joined Avaloq was that many employees had disconnected business from what they were feeling. They had stopped asking why, stopped trying to understand why the people around them were making the decisions they made, and why they were supposed to do the things superiors told them to do. According to Gallup, the initial situation at Avaloq was not so uncommon when compared to other companies. 1 out of 6 employees in Germany is actively disengaged, and further 70% are not committed to their work. Yet we spend most of our lifetime at work. While I do not believe one person alone can change this statistic, I have seen the impact a purpose-driven, competent management team can make for hundreds of employees. Building on this experience, I want to transition into a consulting firm with a focus on helping struggling enterprises turn their business around. In the long term, I want to become an impactful business leader managing large-scale organizational turnarounds as interim CEO. To do so, I have identified 3 major areas for development that I will work on at the GSB. As the deals I negotiated have gotten increasingly global in scope, I noticed that I need to learn more about the way businesses succeed in other countries. At Stanford, I want to deeply understand the global context that all large organizations operate in. Through the eyes of my classmates and in joint experiences such as STEP and global study trips, I want to experience parts of the world I have not yet seen. I need to enhance my entrepreneurial skill set to fit the nature of larger organizations. I want to build on the instincts I formed in the startup world, with electives in finance, operations, and managerial economics. Lastly, managing people is something I really enjoy and do enthusiastically. To sustainably shape a larger company's culture, I want to further develop the kind of leadership style that primarily makes others shine. I believe Stanford's unique leadership resources will help me better understand organizational culture and myself, to become a strong, empathetic leader able to steer a large organization through difficult times. Okay, so first of all, the essay is really about branding. It is an opportunity to answer the questions: who am I? Where do I want to go? And how does Stanford close the gaps between the two? And be specific with that. Use this opportunity to share a strong story that formed your beliefs. Tell the AdCom why you want to go where you want to go. And make it specific how Stanford will help you close those gaps that you noticed. Tell them exactly what classes, what parts of the Stanford environment will help you grow into the leader that you want to be. Second of all, I think the essay is really about the head space, which we just talked about, but also the heart space. It's an opportunity to share not only what you think about the world, but how you feel about the world. What drives you? What makes you so passionate? Because you are more than numbers. You are more than your stats. You're more than your work experience, the school you went to, and you are even more than your target industry and where you want to go to. You are a passionate human being, driven by something that you now need to share in all the emotional color that you have with the AdCom. That is how these essays that you see when applying to US schools get so emotional, why they feel so dramatic, especially to international applicants. But this is how you can communicate in 1 or 2 pages how you feel when working on large challenges or when working on one specific project that is visible on your resume, but that really only means something when people can listen to how you felt about it. So my last tip, don't rush it. Don't get frustrated if it takes more than 1 attempt to get your really authentic voice come out in the essay. The essay you just heard from me was definitely not a first draft. That took some time. And it is okay. I definitely worked on the essays for more than 2 months, working on it every few days, adding an idea or two, brainstorming with friends and family. And on that note, I recommend you get 2 or 3 people who know you really well and also understand the MBA application process to give you feedback. Make sure that you don't adopt everything they say. Just filter it. See it as some information on how you come off in a sentence, because in the end it is about making sure you shine through those pages. And when people know you, they'll be able to tell whether that's the case. Okay, now I'm curious. Share your best tips about how to prepare for the MBA essay down in the comments. Share your struggles. Please feel free to ask questions. I'm always happy to respond, as you can see by all the comments on my other videos. And if you haven't seen them, have a look at my video explaining the MBA application process, or me screaming because I got into Harvard, Stanford and Wharton, and enjoy. I wish you all the success in the world and that you get into the business school that you really want to go to.